Hello, in this video I'm gonna help you take professional photos by explaining the Pro mode in your camera on Samsung Galaxy A17. On your Samsung Galaxy A17, if you go to the camera app, you'll have different modes here. As you slide, there's the fun mode, portrait, photo, video, and more. If you go to more, there is a Pro mode. Now, Pro mode, I think requires some explanation if you're not really experienced with taking photos and with Pro modes. So I'll try to do my best at explaining it. Let's go to that Pro mode. Now we have quite a lot of settings here. So if we get to that, now you can find this bar here, and we can use it to adjust the different settings. Now Pro mode only works on your main camera on the back, but I think that's what it's best at. It's for professional photos, so the main camera is just the best one, so I guess it makes sense. Now if we click on this bar, now we can adjust different things, and let's go from right to left because it's going to be easier that way. Now white balance is basically making your image look warmer or cooler, and I'm gonna do it like that and adjust the slider. You can see now the image is much warmer or much cooler. Technically it can be used as an effect on the image, but in most cases it's just used to equalize the color, because your eyes can automatically adjust to the color of the light, so it looks good, but phones and cameras in general cannot. So the white balance is here to equalize it so it looks natural. And now I'm gonna show you that on an example. I have light here. I've switched it to a colder tone. Now I'm gonna try to equalize it so it looks like it does in real life. I'm gonna look at it. Yeah, now it looks like in real life. I don't know if it's well visible on the camera I'm recording with, but in person it really looks similar. Now if I switch to warm, here it is much warmer than it is here. So yeah, this is basically how it works. Your eyes can adjust and the camera cannot. So this is mainly for that. And now there is several usages. Either when you just want to make the image cooler or warmer, but as I said, it's not really common to use it as an effect, rather to equalize it. So maybe if the white balance automatically, because here you can switch back to auto by clicking on manual, it'll switch to auto. If the auto mode doesn't work as you would expect it to, then you can do it that way. So it basically fixes some problems. Or if you're planning on taking multiple photos and you want to make sure that the color temperature across them doesn't change and stays the same, then you also may want to set it to manual, to just one static value, and shoot with that value. Now the next thing, it's not the most common on phones, is focus, manual focus, and it's a really good feature, because I'm gonna try to demonstrate that just on this plant right here. Okay, now we can see there is the plant right here, and if I switch to manual, I can now put it more in focus or out of focus. Okay, I'm gonna put it like that, and now you can see now it's very well in focus, and now it's out of focus, but now it's focusing on what's here in the background. So yeah, that's what you can do here. It is a really good feature because you're now in full control of what's focused, how far the focus goes. Now I'm gonna switch back to autofocus and let's go to the next thing, which is exposure. Exposure is pretty simple. You can just set it to be darker or lighter. We like here do it every day on our cameras that we're recording videos with because we want the exposure to be static and to match our preference, so you can make it darker. Also with darker, it is actually often, not always, but often is gonna look better, especially if the photo looks overexposed. So feel free to, like when you're taking photos of something and often it looks too bright on phones, you can lower the exposure just a little bit by 0.2 for example and see if it helps, maybe even more depending on the scenario, but sometimes you may want to actually increase the exposure so it looks different, so it's brighter. And that's basically it for the exposure. Now we're getting to the most difficult part, which is ISO and shutter speed. Now shutter speed is basically the time that your camera takes to capture all the light on the image, and the more time it has, the more light it captures, so the brighter the image is. But also, the more time it has, the more blurry some movement may be. Like for example, if there's some movement like people running, you will want to set the shutter speed to a little bit lower than typically, so it doesn't blur these people out, unless you want people blurred out as an effect. But it's just so you do it on purpose rather than this being an accident that these people are just blurred out and you didn't want them blurred out. You know what I mean. Now, if you lower the shutter speed, the image may be a little bit too dark. And that's where ISO comes in. ISO is the sensitivity of your camera matrix, of your camera module. And now, the higher the sensitivity is, the brighter the images will be, but the lower it is, the darker the image will be. Now, it is worth noting that the higher the ISO is, the more grainy the image will be, which means basically sort of a lower quality. And it's not really always a bad thing, but in most cases, the graininess that appears on pictures isn't on purpose, and that's when it becomes bad. So if you want to avoid graininess and you want your picture in high quality and to look professional, I don't know what happened right now. Yeah, if you want your picture in high quality, you actually should try anytime you can set the ISO to the lowest you possibly can without having the image too dark, and then just try adjusting the shutter speed so the brightness of the image is okay. But of course, as I said, if there is some movement on the photo, then the shutter speed cannot be adjusted too high because there will be that blurriness. I will try to demonstrate that. I'm not sure if I will be able, but I'll try my best. So let's go to the ISO first. I'll set it to the lowest as I can, which is gonna be 50. This is a really low ISO. It's a really good one. Now shutter speed, you can see when I start adjusting it, the image gets darker or brighter. So I'm gonna try to adjust it to a level that looks good. I think that looks good. I'm gonna take that photo. Then I'm gonna revert it and set the ISO to the highest, then set the shutter speed to the low, to something around that previous option, so it looks similar. Now let's try seeing those pictures. I'm in very good lighting conditions, so that change may be invisible, but this is with low ISO and high shutter speed. We can see the image is quite great. Now we'll see if there's difference because, as I said, I'm in good lighting conditions. But I feel like I can see some difference here and there. Of course, it's not as visible because of those good lighting conditions, but as I said earlier, in worse lighting conditions, it's gonna be very, very visible. Now also, I'm gonna try to capture movement now with high shutter speed. Yeah, you can already see it gets like very, very blurry. And now it even says hold your camera still. And yeah, the image is gonna be just... Oh, maybe it was too much, a little bit too much, but yeah. Yeah, this is what I was talking about with the shutter speed if it's set too high and there is movement, because sometimes you may want the shutter speed to actually be high, but in those cases, it's best to put your phone on a tripod, for example. And I know that it's a really cool effect if you like put your phone on a tripod and there's people walking around or running around and they are all blurred out. But when you're doing it on purpose, as I said earlier, and also you may want to like use the higher shutter speed at night so you can better capture those darks, because more light can go into your camera, so it captures it better. So if you're taking pictures of the night, then it's really great to hold your phone as still as you possibly can and use the higher shutter speed. So yeah, I hope I could explain something and I hope you know a bit more right now. So feel free to comment with any more questions and like and subscribe to our channels, and I'll see you in the next one.